All right, so here we got some lavender, lavandula angustifolia. I'm just gonna show you quickly how I prune lavender and some other, this will be similar to some other woody perennials, but you can see here, you got nice green leaves down at the bottom. And then we got these dead flowering stalks up at the top. And you can actually notice that the flowering leaves are different than the leaves of the foliage. You can see these ones right here. Here, I'll cut off a little bit so you can get us a few. That's what the leaves on the flowering stalk look like. These kind of really long, narrow leaves versus the ones here on the stem here. You can notice that these ones are very much more dense, closer together, multiple leaves on a stalk. So pretty much what I do with these kind of plants is I want to take off these dead flowering stalks because they're not going to be producing more flowers next year. They need to grow new flowering stalks. So I'm just going to come through here. I'm just going to start snipping the tops off of these. And I like to just kind of come through. And I'm not necessarily being careful just to only get the flowering stalks. You can see I am getting some of those top vegetative buds there. And that's totally fine. It can be nice to trim things back. It kind of stimulates new growth, helps things bush out a little more. And also saves a little bit of time as well. And so if I was trying to be like super careful and doing this absolutely perfectly, I'd probably just be kind of coming carefully down, making sure I'm just trimming right at the base of that. But that's just so time consuming, and honestly, sometimes a little bit of a more vigorous pruning can really help this thing to bush out. And having it bush out is a good thing because, you know, if we're harvesting, the flowers, having a bushier plant's going to mean more flowering stalks on it. So I'm going to keep going through. And this also helps to get rid of a lot of dead growth as well. The flowering stalks are going to typically die, leaving some dead growth, which can potentially turn to mold and create potential pathogen pressures on there. See, look, I got this whole clump right here. I'm just gonna grab this whole thing together and just kind of chop it off at the top like that. And sometimes you wanna make sure you're not giving it like a straight like buzz cut, you know, just like a straight flat, like making it look like a little box, but we wanna kind of come through, be relatively efficient with our pruning. Because if you're pruning a whole field of lavender, you can imagine how much time that could take. If you have only one plant, you know, be a little more neat. But honestly, I think that looks pretty good for a little 2-minute pruning job. And I can always come back in here in detail and get off some more of these little dead pieces of growth. But for me and my purposes, I think this looks pretty good. All right, let's move on to the next thing.